Welcome you all in the course Systematics of Angiosperms. Today we will going to discuss the last family that mentioned by the Bentham system of classification, that is Poaceae family, which is previously called as Gramineae. So this is family is placed in last according to in the Bentham system of classification in the Welcome you all in another session of the course Systematics of Angiosperm. Today we will going to discuss the last family, that is Poaceae, which is previously called as Gramineae family. This family is very important because all the cereals we are consuming that belong to the family Poaceae. So now let's going to explore the Poaceae family. That is, if we see the Bentham system of classification, this particular family is placed in monocotyledony. Welcome you all in another session of the course Systematics of Angiosperm. Today we will going to explore the Poaceae family, which is previously called as Gramineae family, and this is the last family which we will going to discuss. And this family, if we see the systematic position of this particular family, it is placed in monocotyledony, and according to Bentham it is placed in the last, that is in the series Glumaceae, which has 5 families. And you can see in the Glumaceae the position of this particular family is present in the last, and they named it as the Gramineae family, which is the previous name of this particular family, and after the botanical nomenclature now its name is Poaceae family due to the with the Poaceae. So if we compare the systematic position of the Poaceae family, as we have discussed that Bentham placed in the Glumaceae, and it is the last family that is discussed in the Bentham system of classification, while England plantal system it is also placed in monocotyledony and the order is Glumiflorae. So now moving towards the distribution of this particular family, as we have seen that Bentham placed this family in the last in the series Glumaceae, and it is the last family that is discussed by the Bentham system of classification. And the family Poaceae is one of the largest families in the monocotyledony, which consists of around 620 genera and about 6,000 species. So it is showing a quite large number, and it is the one of the largest families. And the members of this particular families have a cosmopolitan distribution. They have a many ecological adaptation, like they also adapted in hydrophytic condition, xerophytic condition, and they also have a mesophytes. So they have a very high adaptability. That's why they are present in every condition, in every ecological habitats, from mesophyte to xerophyte as well as in the hydrophytic conditions. So they have a very high adaptability in every conditions, and around 900 species is present in India, and India is also present in all over part of the India, from Himalayan plain to the western coast as well as in the Himalayan region. So it is present all over the India also and all over the world, and this particular family has a many economic importance. It is feeding the world's most of the population because all the cereal plants that belong to the family Poaceae. So now first of all we will going to discuss about the vegetative characters of the family Poaceae. Mainly the plants of this particular family are herbs. They may be annuals, sometimes biennials, or maybe perennials, but rarely they are also shrubs. As you can see, these are the plants of the showing the plants of the Poaceae family. You can see this is the rice plants, and some plants are tree-like, like bambusa or dendrocalamus, which attain a height of 30 meters or more in Asiatic, or more as in case of Asiatic bamboos. So generally plants have mostly the plants are herbs, but as you can see the bamboo plants may attain the heights of 30 meters, or dendrocalamus also may attain the heights of 30 meters up to, and that in case of Asiatic bamboos. And if you see the roots of this particular family, the roots are adventitious, fibrous, branched, or generally they are still, as in case of maize, that support the stem. So maize and sugarcane, they have a steel roots that supports the trunk of stem. Now moving towards the next character, that is stem. Stem in this particular family is also underground rhizome in all perennial grasses, and they also have a aerial stem terminated by inflorescence are known as culm with distinct nodes and internode. As you can see here, they have a quite distinct nodes and internodal region. These are the internodes and these are the nodal regions. And internodes usually hollow, as you can see here, or sometimes maybe solid as in case of zea mays. And they are generally herbaceous because the plants are herbs, but sometimes maybe woody as in case of bambusa or bamboo plants. So the stem is one of the characteristic of this particular family, Poaceae. As we have discussed earlier, the Cyperaceae family, in which you have seen that the stem is have a angled. While here you can see, and in the Cyperaceae family, the nodes and internodes are not prominent. While in the Poaceae family, you can see the nodes and internodes quite distinct, and generally their internodes are hollow. So these are some differences in between the Cyperaceae and Poaceae family. Now moving towards the next vegetative character, that is leaves. Leaves, as leaves are basal or crowded in tuft, but the leaves on the culm are alternate, simple, exstipulate, sessile with ligulate. As you can see, generally the leaves have three part sheath. The first one is the sheath. As you can see here, these are the sheath that covering the stem. These sheath are tube-like, and the lowest part of the leaves which envelops the stem, and it is usually open from the front. As you can see, it is open, but as you have seen in the earlier Cyperaceae family, this sheath is closed. This is the again one difference from the Cyperaceae family. Here the sheath is closed, and the blade or lamina is expanded. That is the upper part. This is the blade. You can say these are the blades of the leaf, which is the second part, and the third part is the ligule. Ligule is a appendage at the junction of the sheath and blade. As you can see, when there is a, these are the blade and this covering is the sheath, and it is formed in between the junction of the blades and sheath. This is the ligule. So these leaves are ligulate, and if we see the arrangement of these particular plants, they have a alternate arrangement. So here you can see generally they have a alternate, that means they have a two ranked leaf, while in case of Cyperaceae they have a three ranked leaves. So this is again one difference from the Cyperaceae in Poaceae. Here leaves are two ranked and they have a ligulate and the sheaths are open, while in case of Cyperaceae family, as we have discussed earlier, that they have a closed sheath, they have a three ranked leaf, and they have a the third one that they don't have a ligules. So these are some differences in between the Cyperaceae and Poaceae family. Now moving towards the floral characters of the family Poaceae, and the first, that is the inflorescence. Inflorescence in this particular family is terminate at the culm, and it is branches, and the basic unit of the inflorescence is spikelet. As you can see here, it is a unit, that is the spikelet, and the spikelet generally are sessile maybe or maybe pedicellate, and several to many or maybe combined in several ways into spikes, like in case of triticum, and they may be racemes like in case of paspalum, or as a panicles as in case of avena. So these units are spikelets. The arrangement may be different. They may be in the combination of spikes, raceme or panicles. So this spikelet unit is arranged in different way in different species, but the unit is spikelet here. And these spikelet may be arranged in a variety of manner, as I have told you earlier, that there may be raceme, spike, panicle, or maybe in the form of head. And the axis of inflorescence is termed as rachis. And each rachis structure of spikelet is that this is a, yes, you can see here, this is the rachis, and the structure at each of there is the two lowest rachilla. This is the only one rachilla here, and you can see at each the lowest side there is a presence of a one glume. If we see the structure of the spikelets, you can see here it has a zigzag rachilla, and at the lowest side you can see there is a unpaired glume. As you can see here, this is the glume, and glume which is born on the lower surface of the two nodes is termed as the lower glume, and that is the on the upper surface is termed as the upper glume. And if we see, these are the glumes, and if we see the single flower, it is also have a two bracts, that is termed as the palea or lemma. These are the lemma and this one is the palea. These are the further bracts, and in the other cases, the lodicule is the perianth which is represented by, in this particular perianth is represented as a lodicule, as you can see here from this, and these are the one single flower. So this particular plant, they also have a racula, as we have discussed earlier in the Cyperaceae family, they have only single glume, while here you can see at the lower part they have a unpaired glume, and at there you can see they have a lemma, two bracts, and the edges is called as on, and these are the plea, that bluish one, that is the plea, and that is, this is the green dot representing the lodicule which is the perianth. And if you see, this is the typically a characteristics slide showing the, this slide showing the all the characteristic of the family Poaceae. As you can see here, the plants have a herbaceous habit, the leaves they are have a two rank system, and the stem is subtended by a inflorescence, that is spikelet. And if you see a single spikelet, as you can see, it has a racula, and the lower portion there is a presence of a glume, and each racula there is a presence of a lemma, and these lemma, one side there is a lemma and one is the palea. These are represented, this one is the, in this floral diagram you can see this is the lemma and this one is the palea, and you can see these are the green dots that representing the perianth, this is the reduced perianth, and these yellow portion that is representing the stamens, and these are the gynoecium which is represented by generally monocarpellary ovary, as you can see here. So this is the spikelet inflorescence, or this is the single spikelet. Here you can see a single floral diagram of the Poaceae family. Now moving towards the flower. Flower is very small, inconspicuous, bracteolate as we have seen, sessile, incomplete because they don't have a perianth, bisexual or sometime maybe unisexual as in case of Ziames. They are irregular, zygomorphic, and hypogynous, they have a cyclic arrangement. So you can see the flowers are sessile, there is a sterile lemma. Then perianth is highly modified and much reduced and usually represented by only two minute of fleshy and hyaline membranous scales like structure called lodicules. So these are the lodicules, which is the reduced form of perianth, and the lodicules are situated above and opposite to the superior palea. As you can see, this is the palea and it is just superior to the palea, or may be absent in many as in case of Aucklandra, or they may be 3 or 2. So perianth is quite reduced into the lodicules as we can see here, and it is superior or opposite to the palea as you can see here. So these are the flower you can see here. This is the lemma, this one is the palea. Here you will find the lodicule that is showing that this is the reduced perianth. So now moving towards the next floral character, that is the androecium. The stamens, there is represented by only 3 in general, sometimes 6 as in case of bambusa or in case of ariza, but they also may be sometimes 1 as in case of festuca, or rarely they have a numerous stamen as in case of parinum. But the number may be vary, but the condition is always polyandrous. The filaments are quite long, as you can see here, they have a quite long filament, they are free, basifixed, and the anthers are diathecous, versatile and linear as you can see here. Extose and pollen grains are very dry in nature. And if we talk about the gynoecium, which is made up of monocarpellary, which is presumed to be 3, of which 2 are absorbed. That means 2 gynoecium or carpels are absorbed or rudimentary, and the ovary is superior with unilocular and single anatropous ovule that adnate to the adaxial side of the ovary. And they're showing the basal presentation. Style is quite short, as you can see here, or absent, and the stigma is either bifid or trifid, as in case of bambusa, and the style is generally feathery or papillate. Stigma is feathery or papillate, and branch, as you can see, and stigma is pulmose. As you can see here, this is the stigma, this one is the style, that may be bifid, feathery or palpate. You can see these are the stamens. This is the, as you can see in this figure, this is the lemma, which is the bract. Then another bract, this is the palea, which is have a upper at the superior portion there is a presence of alodicules, and this is the male reproductive part, which is represented by 3 stamens. This one is the female reproductive part, that is the gynoecium, which is also have a ovary, style and stigma. Style is quite short, and this one is the stigma, that may be feathery or palpate, maybe branched and pulmose. So this is the female reproductive part, that is the gynoecium, which is made up of monocarpellary ovary. Now come to the fruits. Fruit is caryopsis with pericarp and completely united with seed coat, and they may be rarely nut in case of dendrocalmus or berries in case of bambusa. Here you can see this is the fruit that is termed as the caryopsis, and the seed is endospermic with single cotyledon called scutellum, which is shield shaped and pressed against the endosperm. So here fruit, you can see the caryopsis that is totally fused with the pericarp and united with the seed coats. So here seed as well as fruit that is totally united with the fruit coat. So this is the fruit that is termed as the caryopsis in the family Poaceae, and that is the rarely nut in case of dendrocalmus or berry in case of bambusa. And if you see the floral formula of the family Poaceae, as we have seen, the flowers are zygomorphic. They have a bisexual flower. Perianth is generally absent, or maybe they are represented by 2 lodicules. Androecium is generally 3 in number, or sometime maybe 6, or many. Gynoecium is 1, that is represented by basal and superior ovary. So this is the floral formula of the family Poaceae. And if we see the diagnostic characters of the family Poaceae, generally they are herbs, as we have discussed earlier. Then stem is jointed, fistular, that means hollow, cylindrical, and then leaves are simple, alternate with sheathing bases that are open, and the next important character, that is the leaves are ligulate. Then the inflorescence are compound spike. The flowers are zygomorphic, hypogynous, and they are protected by palea, which is a bract. Then perianth is represented by only 2 or 3 minute scales, which is termed as lodicules. Then stamens are 3 in number, they are free and versatile. Then carpel is only 1, style is 2 to 3, and stigma is feathery, and the basal presentation is there in the gynoecium or ovary. Then the fruit is caryopsis, and the testa is fused with the pericarp. This is some list of the diagnostic characters which we can see in this particular slide. As you can see, the leaves have a 3 part, that is the blade, sheath, and the center. In the junction of the blade and sheath, there is a presence of a ligule, as you can see here. And the stem is culm, which is hollow in the internode, and the nodes and internodes are quite distinct, as you can see here. And the arrangement of leaf, you can see they have a 2 ranked leaf, and the roots are fibrous roots. And if you see a single inflorescence, you can see these inflorescence have a stalk. They may be a pedicellate or maybe sessile. In this case particularly, it is a pedicellate, and each inflorescence, it is subtended by, there is a first gloom, and this one is the second gloom. And if we see a particular single racula, is, you can see here, this is a sessile flower which have a 2 protecting branch, which is termed as lemma, and the next one is the palea. And you can see the male part that has a stamens which is 3 in number, and the gynoecium is only single monocarpellary with single ovule at the basal presentation, and the style is bifid and the stigma is feathery, you can see here. So this is the all the characteristic you can see is present in this particular slide. From the stem, that is come, ranked is 2 leaves, then the leaves have a 3 portion, blade and sheath, and the junction there is the presence of a ligule. Then there is a spikelet inflorescence, and they have a number of bracts, like the glume is the lower portion of the splankon. Then each flower is protected by the pilia and lemma. So these are the some characteristic feature of the family Poaceae. Now moving towards the common plants of the family Poaceae. The most common plant that we all know, that is the Triticum aestivum, that is wheat, or ziame, that is commonly called as corn, Avena sativa, that is commonly called as oats, or other sativa, that is commonly called as rice, bambusa, that we all commonly known as bamboo, then Saccharum officinarum, that is commonly called as sugar cane, then Hordeum vulgare, that is commonly called as barley, then Sickle cereal, that is commonly called as rye, then Sorghum vulgare, which is commonly called as jowar, then Princetum typhoid, that is the bajra, the grasses like Dactylon, then Panicum, Cymbopogon, that is the lemongrass, then Poa. So you can see here a number of plants that we are aware of is belong to the family Poaceae. So this is the many common plant that we all know that belong to the family Poaceae. Now if we see the floral details of the most common plant of this particular family, that we all depend upon this particular plant, that is the Triticum aestivum, for our grains, that is the Triticum aestivum that belong to the family Poaceae. And if we see a flowering tip of the family, Triticum aestivum, you can see it is typically showing a 2-ranked leaf. Leaves have a 3 portion. This is the lamina, this is the sheath, and in junction there you will find a ligule. Now you can see a prominent nodes and internodes. Then the inflorescence is spikelet, and if you see a single floret, you can see there is a lemma and pilia which is protecting the flower, and at the base you will find a reduced parent, that is the lodicule, and there are 3 stamens here which is presented here. And in this case, these are the, in this particular you will find the gynoecium, these are the ovary, that is superior in position, then style is bifid and the stigma is feathery, and you can see here a single gynoecium, this is ovary, and this one is the style, and this style is bifid and the stigma is feathery. And you can see these are the stamen, single stamen with anther, that is the biathecus, the filament is quite long in nature. And here you can see this is the TS of ovary, that's showing the single locule and a single ovule at the which has a basal presentation. So you can see this is the floral diagram that's showing the lemma and pilia, these are the lodicules, this is the androecium which is showing here, and these are the gynoecium which has a feathery stigma. So these are the characteristics of the floral details of Triticum aestivum that present in the Poaceae family. The next one is the spikelet of festuca. As you can see, this is the spikelet of the grass festuca. You can also see here these are the 2 lodicules. Then these are the ovary. You can see this is the pilia at which there is the presence of a, then you can see this is the feathery stigma. Then you can see anthers, they are versatile in nature, and the filament is quite long. And you can see this is the one racula axis, is one which unpaired barren glume. Then there is a presence of a superior pilia, these are the lodicules which is small size, and you can see the flowers in which the stamens and the gynoecium is present. And this one is showing the floral diagram of the grass as we have discussed in the earlier. These are the pilia and lemma, these are the lodicules, these are the androecium, and this one is the gynoecium. And this is the floral diagram of the bambusa. As we have discussed earlier that the bambusa, there is a number of stamens in the bambusa is 6. So that 6 number of stamens is represented in this particular figure. So Bambusa has the 6 number of stamens as we have seen in this particular polar diagram, and all the characteristics are same, that is they have a lemma and pilia, they have a lodecules, and they have a then the monocarpellary ovary which is have a feathery stigma. So now this is the characteristic of the grasses and the floral diagram of grass and the Bambusa. Now moving towards the economic importance of the family Poaceae. Now moving towards the economic importance of the family Poaceae. The family Poaceae stand first and the foremost in respect to the economic importance in the whole angiosperm. As I have already told you that all the staple food grains of the population, all the worlds are divided in the staple food grains of the population of the worlds are derived from the either sativa, that is rice, or either from the triticum that is the wheat. So this is the family is very highly economic important because our total world population is depending upon the either wheat or on the rice. That's why this is the one of the foremost is economically important family, and the economic important categories of this particular family is as follows. The first, that is the as food. All the cereal and millets is belong to this particular family, and these from the basic food of the all mankind, and these plants some examples of here listed here in this particular slides. So this is quite highly economically important family, that is Poaceae family, like Triticum species that yield wheat, Avena sativa that commonly called as oats that giving us oats, Zea maize that is corn, Oryza sativa that is. The first economic importance that we will going to discuss, that is the food. All the cereals and millets belong to this particular family Poaceae. Now these cereals and millets are the basics of the basic food of the every mankind. So these are the list of the some cereals and millets like triticum that is commonly called as wheat, Avena sativa which is called as oats, Zea maize that is called as corn, Oryza sativa which is called as rice, Hordeum vulgare which is called as barley, Sickle cereal that is called as rye, sorghum vulgare which is called as jawar, then Brunzitum typhoid that is called as bajra, Citeria italica this is called as Italian millet, then Panica millesium this is called as common millet, then Eleusine corama which is called as finger millet or ragi. So you can see number of cereals and millet all that belong to the family Poaceae, and these are our main staple foods. So it is very highly important family, that is Poaceae family. Besides the food, it is family is also it not only serving the mankind, but it also it serve as a food to the fodders, and the most of the fodders of the animals also belong to this particular family, like many such grasses like the Cynodon dactylion, Panicum, Cymbopogon, Poa are grown as fodder, and the dried stems and leaves of the cereal crops are used as a fodder for the cattle. So you can see here this particular family is not feeding only us, this family is also feeding the our cultivated animals. So this is mainly, so this family is providing food to all the mankind as well as to their cultivated animals also and the cattle. Besides this, they also provide the building materials, like some species of Bambusa like Bambusa tulda, Bambusa vulgaris are used for the scaffolding, thatching heads, etc. And the many species are also used in the preparation of the furniture, like species of Dendrocalmus that is called as Bath, then Arundinaria, then Melocalmus are used in the manufacture of furniture. Besides these, the main sugar producing plant is also belong to the family Poaceae, that is termed as the Saccharum officinarum, that is also called as sugarcane. So one of the sugar that is obtained from the juice of the Saccharum officinarum is also belong to the Poaceae family. So you can see our staple food is also coming from the Poaceae family. Our fodder is also, our animals also feed on the this particular family Poaceae. We can also obtain from the wood that is also used in the making of furniture or building materials. Then we can also obtain the sugar from this particular family, that is the main sugar producing plant, that is the Saccharum officinarum, also belong to this particular family Poaceae. Besides this, This particular family also yield many aromatic oils. Like many grasses yields aromatic oils which are used in perfumery like vetiveria, which is also called as khaskhas, yield vetiver oil from the roots. Then Endopogon odorata, that is called as ginger grass. Then Symbopogon sativata, this is also called as lemongrass. Then Symbopogon martinini is also yield a aromatic oil. So you can see these oils are used in case of perfumes and soap industry for making infusions. So these are some economic importance of the family Poaceae. Besides this is also used in the paper industry. Like many species of grasses and bamboos are used for making of papers. Beside this, alcohol and beverages, that is ethyl alcohol and many other beverages are prepared from cereals. For example, one is prepared from rye, corn and rum and molasses from the sugar cane. Then many species are also used for the ropes, that is yield the fibers are obtained from the leaves of Saccharum munja. These fibers are used for the making of ropes. Beside this, there is a several uses of bamboo, like bamboo plant or bamboos are used as a building material. They are used in the thatching huts, making boats, cars, pipette, and their split stems are woven into the mars, fans, hat and coarse umbrella. So you can see this particular family has so many economic importance, from our food to sugar to paper industry to our alcoholic beverages, that all. Beside this, they also yield many perfumeries. So this family is very economically important. Now moving towards the systematic position of this particular family Poaceae. Now moving toward the some primitive character that present in this particular family Poaceae. Like few plants are arboreal in habit. All the florets in the spikelets are fertile. Glumes are persistent in nature. Lemma are herbaceous and leafy. Stigma are 3. Leaves are simpler, alternate, then the flowers are hypogynous and bisexual. The seeds are endosperm. These are some primitive characters of the family Poaceae. And if you see the advanced characteristics, you can see there is a number of list of the advanced characteristics that present in this particular family Poaceae. As we have seen that the most of the plants are herbaceous, annuals and perennials. Then the leaves are exstipulate, the flower arranged in a distinct inflorescence. The flowers are called small, inconspicuous and zygomorphic in nature. Perianthus represented by lodicule or maybe absent. The stamens are reduced to 3 or maybe 1. The gynoecium is monocarpellary and unilocular. Then they have a bristle presentation. The fruit is caryopsis and seeds are quite small sized. These are some advanced characters that present in the family Poaceae. And if we see the affinity of this particular family Poaceae, the family Poaceae is closely related with the Cyperaceae. As we have discussed earlier, the Cyperaceae family, you can see these two families have many similar characteristics. Like they both have a bracts, that is the glume, they have a racula, they are subtended by the flowers. So that's why they placed in the glumiflory by the angular and prantal and glumaceae by the benthamucre. So both angular and prantal and benthamucre place this particular family in the same classes or order. But Hutchinson and other modern botanists place the families into two separate orders, like in the cypreals and gramineals, on the basis of many differences, that is leaf sheath. As we have seen in the Cyperaceae, Cyperaceae has a closed leaf sheath while the Poaceae has a open leaf sheath. Then they have a jointed and unjointed stem. Like in case of Cyperaceae, you can see they don't have a jointed stem. Then single bract and lemma and pilia. You can see in a Poaceae they have a single bract, lemma and pilia. Then the seed coast it fused. So Hutchinson believes that the origin of grass took place in the Paland by the Cyperaceae. So you can see although these two families share many characteristics in the Cyperaceae and Poaceae, but they are originated from the different line from the Juncaceae. They are evolved parallelly from the Juncaceae family as a Cyperaceae and Poaceae according to Hutchinson. And if we compare the Cyperaceae and Poaceae family, as we have seen, in the Cyperaceae, or that is called as sedge family, or the Poaceae it is called as grass family. Although both the families have a quite similar characteristic, but there are some differences. Like the stem is usually three-angled, while in case of this the stem is terete, which is called as culm, although the stem is erect, but they have a cylindrical stem, but here is the stem is three-angled or sometimes maybe quadrangular, and the stem usually with solid pith, while in case of Poaceae the stem is solid at the nodes but hollow in the internodes. The stem is usually with solid pith in case of Cypress, while in case of Poaceae the stem is with solid at the node while hollow in the internodes. Then the leaf sheaths are closed in case of Cypress as we have discussed earlier, and the leaf sheaths are open in case of Poaceae family. Then the inflorescence are complex of spikelets, but here the inflorescence is also a complex of spikelet. Then the perianth is here, one to many bristles or hairs or may be absent. Here perianth is hardly evident or apparently reduced to a scale like palea, that is termed as the tiny lodicule. They may be 2 or 3. Here stamens is 3 number, they may be 1 or 2 or rarely 6. Here is also stamen 3 to 6, rarely they have a 1 or 2. Their pistil is made up of 2, 3 or maybe fused carpel. Here pistil is made up of only 1 and sometimes maybe 3 fused carpels. Here fruit is achene while here fruit is caryopsis. So there are some differences in the Poaceae and Cypressaceae family, which we can see also visualize from this comparative table. As we have discussed earlier, this family has a many common characteristics and they may have some differences also, like stem they have, you can see here in Poaceae they have a prominent node and internodes, you can see they have a, while the internodal region and hollow. Here you can see the nodes and the stem is triangular, solid. As you can see the flower reduced to one or many, held in spikelets. As you can see they are bilaterally symmetrical. Generally they are bisexual, while in case of Cypressaceae generally the flowers are unisexual or sometimes maybe bisexual. As you can see, these are the stamens which is represented here. You can see these are the gynoecium which is also feathery. Here the stigma representing the number of carpels, while here there is a monocarpellary gynoecium is present. Here you will find the glume, that is a palea, and lemma. Here a single glume is present. So these are the some characteristics and the differences in between the Poaceae and Cypressaceae family, which is Poaceae, which is also called as grass family or Gramineae, and the Cypressaceae is also called as sedge or Cypressaceae family. So now we have studied all the families that belong to the monocots, and today we will going to end because Poaceae is the last family, and here we have studied the monocot families, in which we have studied the last family, that is the Poaceae family. So that's all for today. The Poaceae family is the last family and it is our daily part of our food. This family, like we are always consuming the wheat or rice, either these are our staple foods. This family is very important and this is the last family. As we have discussed the families in order to Pantheon system of classification, as you can see, as we have discussed earlier in the class, that this particular family according to Bentham ecosystem classification, that is placed in the last series, that is in the Glumaceae, and in Glumaceae this particular family has the last number, that is the Gramineae or Poaceae. So this is the last family that we have discussed today in this session. So this is all about the families. Thank you all of you for joining me. That's all for today. Thank you very much.